I made it brief. Actually, it's more than 36 slides. I made it shorter to save the time, and I try to give time for discussion because I have another activity after I finish here. So, you know, in analysis, we have different ways. We have quantitative, we have qualitative, and when we look at this quantitative, it's like numbers, you know, statistics usually, like height, distance, ages, for example, numbers, you know, it's very much clear in demographic, you know, statistics and so. And from all of these data, we try to make with charts and so, and it's well known for everybody. Also, we have the quantitative. I will try to show you examples, you know, after a few slides, how we share qualitative and quantitative in research, in area of research. How did we do that? It was, some of them, it was in Japan, other one, it was in Honduras. How we did it, you know, the quantitative, qualitative together, which we call it theory game. Game theory is a kind also of analysis. Scenarios, you are all aware about scenarios. There are some details about scenarios. I will try to show that. So, and then the game theory middle. And this game theory middle is especially for strategists. It's strategic level more. It's more in economy actually, but also in other dimensions of national powers. So you find this theory game happens a lot. And most of people use it in economy. I use it with my team in something like national powers in comparison, for example, between the United States, Russia, and China. And I will show you this example here. I did it in the United States Central Command, by the way, and we discussed it in details, actually. Historical analysis, you know, is that when you go to the history, you try to check, but you don't keep yourself in the history, which is very important because it's a common mistake when you keep yourself. Like when we say there's something just was discussed recently, like Israel as armed forces, or as a country in any conflicts, do they, how can I say, cannot endure long-term war, or they avoid long-term war? See, this is a big difference, actually, and it happens. So, before, according to their capabilities, they were not able to endure long-term war. But now, with big support and capabilities, technology and weapons, they avoid, but they can do it, as they do it right now. So that's why when people analyze, oh my God, how you could endure long-term war when they are not capable, because you are in historical mistake. You keep yourself in the history, and you didn't know that they changed something in what they have in their capabilities. Scenarios. We are all aware or oriented, let me say, familiarized with most likely, less likely, and medium. There is only also most dangerous, less dangerous, and medium. And we tried to use recently something like most likely, less likely, and most dangerous. So most dangerous, it doesn't have to be most likely, it doesn't have to be less likely, it doesn't have to be medium. It could be any one of them, but if it happens, so the consequences will be very dangerous. So when you mix, as I told you, most likely scenario, less likely scenario, most likely, most dangerous, less dangerous, and so on. So when we mix this kind of most and less, we come with most dangerous in the middle, it gives you more space in your analysis that you have to be aware about the red light. The red lines, you have to be careful with them because they are the most dangerous. And I will try to show you example as I told you. So, tools of geopolitical analysis. It's very common. We have data collection, processing, and analysis. And one of them, I think, the main point is not, everyone is important. The main one is processing. The most challenges is the first one, data collection. Before, when I was captain, not Navy captain, just young captain. So I was intelligence, and really we were suffering how to collect information. Now we are suffering that we have fluidity, if I say it right, of information, a lot of information, which became another type of a challenge. So collecting information really very difficult. And sometimes with mistakes, which I'm coming to the last part after some time today, you will find that big mistakes let you go to collect fake news, fake information, and wrong information, and you accept them as they are real, that they are, no doubt they will happen, or so are they, or they are true. In data analysis, we will come in that, in our examples, as I told you, and it has shapes, but remember something. There must be the main consideration. We try to consider objectivity. You can be biased, as discussed with my colleagues before. You can be biased. You don't have to be neutral, but you have to be objective yourself when you get judged. This is one of the most challenges when you make your analysis. So, after that, we start to think about what points we have to consider. We found, when we are preparing our analysis, we found something that, from information angle, as I told you, if you remember, the fluidity, because really it's a challenge right now, how you can compare between fake news and right news and even average news, if it could be accepted. Also accuracy and entering conclusion. Why I say here entering conclusion? I noticed in most of the analysis, I noticed that we put conclusion only in the end. If you put conclusion after every phase or every aspect, like for example, when we call it intelligence appreciation, let me say Spain will fight another country for terrorism. So your armed forces, here's the intelligence, you do something, intelligence appreciation. So one of them, which is really important, that like, for example, how much capabilities my enemy have, what are their allies, and so on. After point by point, the conclusion, what can I get, or the output, what I can take from that. When you compose all conclusions together, you will find something different, rather than you have one conclusion in the end and you are affected with only one aspect or one phase of your phases. Okay. In the opponent angle, I noticed that especially in Japan and Korea, they consider this point very much, more than Europe, actually. This is my interpretation, maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I noticed from my relations. They consider very much the personality, the leader himself. Like, I give you examples. When we talk about Xi Jinping, President of China, that was my discussion, by the way, in Japan in April, was one of the activities I attended there. So we concluded something. He's a very strong man, but he absorbs his strength from the strongest institution, the country based on which is the social party. What I want to say here, that China is an institutional country. They have social party, and all presidents before him, they have the power which is in the social party. But he started to undermine the social party and to absorb the power from the social party to him. It means in his decision making, as we were discussing, if you remember, in the future or near future even, all decisions will not be based on the social party as it's common, as you are used to analyze. It will be taken or analyzed according to his personality. And what's very important is personality, his needs as well. He would like to continue as president for a longer time, not like any president before him, only 2 terms. This, when you consider that, you will find his decisions much related to that. I don't tell you, you prepare your mind to analyze according to a point you are, something like access to your analysis, but I say you have to consider this kind of points, just it will help you much. When we talk about Netanyahu is an institutional person leading an institutional country. But in his personality, he is doing something. He has the same goal, one of his goals, to continue forever as prime minister. That's why I was analyzing, since the war started, that he will not only fight Gaza, but he will fight Hezbollah and he will fight Iran to destroy the nuclear weapon, because this will help what he wants, not to avoid the jail, but to continue for longer time as he can as prime minister. And he tried to do something. If you notice something, he is making a lot of decisions now. They are based on constitutions. They are not against the law. But during the long time, he was preparing the constitution and his institutions institutionally to accept this kind of decisions, which you cannot accept right now, inside even this country. So the person is very important in this case. Same with Erdogan. I don't say this bad or this good, but this is how he think. I think, again, he would like to continue for a longer time. That's why he started to convert, from prime minister system to so, or maybe this is the way. So personality in decision making in war, in economy, in everything. What to serve and you decide this way is important to analyze. Sorry to take time in this point, but I think, and that's why we try to study psychology of the opponent. Psychology of the opponent, we talk only about one person here, which is the leader. What about psychology of the population of the opponent? Big difference. Maybe in Spain here, democratic country, so all of you are different, you are against each other politically, right? But you are one country. But some other countries, they have one way. They think one way. Do you think they do it their own way, or they are managed by media and other ways to be one-way thinking? So, and this will help you to study the psychology of the population of your opponent or any party, even in any conflict you try to analyze. That's why when I analyze Hamas or Jihad or so, it's different between analyzing other, because they are not directed as militants or as fighters. No, they have a goal they would like to achieve this way. It's something regarding, spirit, soul, and soul. This is my country. I don't have armed forces. Again, it's not good, not bad. That's not the issue. But when you analyze, you have to think this way. Don't think, and remember, why I say don't think and stopped. Don't think that other people think the way you think. They discovered by researchers that the people who believe in conspiracy, they are ready to do conspiracy against the others. So if I believe in conspiracy, I believe everybody is doing conspiracy. If I believe that everybody is one mind, so I believe whoever my enemy especially, or I don't like, they will think the same way that they are one mind. Here, stakeholders and the interests. Big difference between the stakeholder, by the way, my lecture with anybody, welcome to take it from the university, it's my pleasure for sure. So, stakeholders and interests. Sometimes you find stakeholders are common in interests or common on threats. Big difference. And let me come in this. I was asked it before, and it's my personal opinion, why Western, like Europe, like United States, even like Japan and Korea as well, Taiwan itself, they believe in alliances to get together, because they believe in common interests more than common threats. Even common threats are there. But Eastern side, they believe more, they get together more, they get together more on common threats. They never agree. Why? Because most of the Eastern, I'm sorry to say that, but most of the Eastern who are really players, they are dictatorship, a leader of the person, not an institution. So very difficult persons to have common interest. But countries can have common interest if they are institutionally working. So this will, I think, may help you when analyze. So you will find never, China is not country of alliance, and they have their own reason, which is declared, because we believe that alliances provoke other allies against us to compete or to fight. This is but no, so I think the true or the real, that because the responsibility, and as I told you, I don't want to be involved in any war right now. In economy, this is a fast and quick and how to reach my point as I want, the way I want. Okay, I'll jump again. Vital factors. We have main factors. When you analyze in everywhere, we have time, we have space, which is land, for example. We have power, force, we have information. These are the four main. We have planning and we have morale, but the most important four, or the main four, are the first ones. Notice something, that power, force, is the one which is really much affected by the others. Like, if you have enough information, it doesn't mean that you need big forces. If I have enough information about this whole, I don't need a lot of assistance to help me how we work here, right? If I have enough time to stay here, also I don't need enough forces, right? If I have enough space, maybe I need enough forces. If I have enough space and enough information, maybe I don't need big forces. But if I don't have all of this, I will need a lot of forces. So this is why, for example, why Israel started with huge amount of forces in a very small area. This really proves that they didn't have enough information, and the land, they don't live inside Gaza for sure. And even though they have agents inside Gaza, but they discovered that they are not very loyal enough to them. And time was not enough for sure, because Netanyahu would like to revenge or to take, how can I say, substitute the big loss what happened on 7th of October, right? So short of time, short of information, I don't have a land, so big forces is needed, otherwise, whichever forces I would send will be destroyed. And maybe you know or not, the United States tried to tell them, please use fire and special forces. Don't use traditional forces, but he refused because he knows that he suffered shortage of what I told you. So these factors are really very important. Okay. So when I talked about in decision-making process for each actor, like in scenarios, let's find the power structure. Okay, this is, remember how to mix them. Now I will go directly to the example. Here, you remember when I talked about qualitative and quantitative, right? I will tell you Japan. How do you think, for example, about Middle East? Who can be the backbone to us? I'm part of this research project. Look at this and how the quantitative and qualitative, gathered together in analysis. So they discovered one. As you see, we have Russia, United States, and China. They are always there. And then they found Turkey, Iran, and Egypt. Israel is not here. Why? They found, okay, they classify the countries in our region demographically. So, like dwarf, which is less than 20 million, medium, which is 20 million to 90 million, and giant, above the 90 million. Only three countries are giant, which is Turkey, Egypt, and Iran. And they started to make like comparison among them. They found what? All of them Muslims. Forget about Shia when here, right? All of them history, civilization. Okay. But they found that technology, industry, production, which is economy based in production, more in Iran and Turkey, less, much less in Egypt. Technology, more in the first two countries, much less in Egypt. And they found another thing is for the Egyptian side, which is identity, language, and nationalism, Arabism, So 22 Arabian countries, they almost speak same language, but Turkey, only Turkey and some other small countries, few countries, speak Turkish. Iran and few folks or countries speak Persian. So that's why they said, and also for geostrategic location of Egypt, you are aware very well about the Red Sea and Suez Canal, and so Egypt is overlooking, the only country in this region overlooking two seas, and so they said, okay, so I think Egypt should be the one. Israel doesn't want that. Why? For sure, I would like to be the backbone, and the only, as I repeat what they say, the only democratic country, for sure. But suppose, why USA, why you trust Israel more than many European communities? Because one of the reasons, they are the only democratic country. Also, they implement the political system of European and United States, almost. Suppose that Egypt became really democratic, that's democracy, you know. Here is different. Because it will be conversion in ideology, even if they're the way of thinking also, and at the same time, Israel will be mirrored. Why? Because the number of people who are Arab, Jewish, Israeli, live in Israel, increasing demographically, if I compare with the number of Israeli Jewish, which are non-Arab. So by time, with this democratic big country, will absorb my Israeli, because, after some time, religion will not be the issue to compare or so, and then. So from this, as you see, it was something like mix between qualitative, quantitative. You remember when I told you producing country based on resources or based on production, the quality. And by the way, they found also Egypt has something very special. According to Japanese, I can tell you the name, Professor Takeshi Akechi and Professor Ohashi Mikashi. They said what? That we have a very thick, not thick, how can I say in English, Samika, something like thick middle class, which can really based on whatever they are crashed, but you can find them. That's why Gulf countries need the Egyptian more, because language, religion, the origin as well as Arab, and at the same time, the middle class is very big. It's shrunk somehow, but anyway, it's really big and strong. So this is one. Second one is, if you remember the theory game. This is my idea. Even it was my PhD, and I did that in the United States Center for Command. USA, we have two dimensions, power and influence. So if you have the national powers, you have impose your influence. You can impose your influence. China is very powerful, but it does not impose its influence in our region, especially with sharp power, because sharp power need to have true influence previously in this region, but they have really big power second after the United States. Russia, they are not powerful at all, but they have good influence among the region. And I will come here in the next now. So China and Russia start to think in a very smart idea. Why don't we create a third dimension in which we can affect the power and influence, especially influence, which is populism. So, and populism comes with a lot of things, slogans, good words, charismatic leaders, and fake news, propaganda. So they work with this very well. And how they deal with you, your countries, our countries, and so on. We are different in culture, we are different in way of thinking, in nature. So, but they always, you have your own two slices of sandwich, of toast. It's different between the two slices of Egypt, your toast and Egyptian toast. But the main course is same. It's Russian, which is a fake news. So they let you test the toast, which the one you accept is edible for you. You can test it, you like it, and then you swallow the main course. But your toast is different from our toast, is different from Finnish or Norwegian. They're totally different, You don't accept these messages or direct something like this. Tell me how, and so. And that's why when they had some things Sweden has with Russia, which is like dispute on that land. So Russia started to attack them with fake news, and the Swedish said, "You don't understand. Why you do that with us? You don't understand." But in other countries, which are their mentalities, and as I told you, their minds are guided. They are managed to be prepared to accept anything and believe easily. So it can work very well. And when it comes this way, so I think populism can work very strongly. See, it's 4 here, it's 5 here, it's 1 here. So people, especially Europe with blue eyes or blonde hair, our region don't like that. Why? Because mostly somehow, okay, double standards are there. But at least there are standards. At least there are standards. It's better than no standards, right? But anyway, so this worked well with this kind when you play on, failure of double standards also. And here is the theory game. Here, the theory game of analysis. Don't think only in one angle. Try to get more angles. Try to think how those opponents try to defeat each other. That's why United States, I noticed that. How I noticed that? I can tell you simply. United States Embassy in Egypt, their Facebook page, I can see what they announced right now. They try to go to the minds of the Egyptians because they are penetrated by the Russian tools as well and Chinese tools. So here in the theory game comes somehow. Then, scenarios. I give just examples. So, okay. So I just give examples, these scenarios, very quickly. I have to jump. I'm sorry. We started late. Okay. Now I will go to the key risks. There are a lot of fallacies of thinking. Some of them are generalization, like when I say the best command and staff college is the Spanish one. How comes? You cannot say that. Look at the Egyptian, for example. It had different way. American, they had different way. Or the Egyptian is the best one. So generalization shouldn't be like that. When you make comparison among them, you have, in this you do that, in this you do that. So the comparison could be clearer. Standards, like when you say, if I drink every day a cup of milk, so my health will be better 10%, it means after 10 days my health will be good, or the best, right? 100%. So it's like this. And also, as you see here, denial, evasion, begging, I'm sorry, genetic, red herring. Red herring is occurring now. I would like to tell you about it. Maybe. In Saudi, some people died in pilgrimage, Hajj, right? So all media now concentrating on what? What are the fake companies who gives them visas to travel? That was big burden on the country. Some observers know, they said, it's red herring. Why? Because it's trying to take you away from the true story, that it was a failure by the Ministry of Hajj in Saudi. So red herring is something to take you away from the idea. And this is because it's difficult to notice it, but this was happening. I don't say this right or this right, but they consider this red herring, this incident, for example. When I said, if you remember, one of the really important to me, I think, following the majority and also faulty reasoning. Faulty reasoning here, if you ask in Muslim Arab countries, what does it mean democracy to you? He will tell you chaos. Human rights, betraying the country. See, why? Because it's inserted by time. If any revolution, whatever the region, it will destroy the country by the revolution, right? If you talk about human rights, that means NGOs which are taking money from outside the country, so they take this money to betray their country or to sell their country to the enemies. And this which you can call it faulty reasoning. And this, by the way, is very spread in several regions, especially Arab region and Africa. Naturalism, like negative attitude towards the issue, illogical thinking, which it happens several times. As I thought, and this question is much repeated now. What is the logic behind what you say? Because we know now a lot of logic are, how can I say, wrong, maybe, but other things. This logic, you are convinced, like, yes, Russia can invade Ukraine. Yeah, this is the right. And maybe the same one. He doesn't, he disagrees with you. It's right for sure that Israel to invade Gaza. You understand what I mean? So, but because I hate United States, so I agree, they don't know Ukraine. Nobody knows Ukraine in our region. It was not known, by the way. Maybe it was beautiful ladies, maybe. So what I would like to say here, that because I hate United States, so I have to support Russia, which are against the West as they declare. But at the same time, I don't say that all people support Hamas same way. So at the same time, because this is invasion, but this is not invasion. For logic here is really very important, I think. Sometimes I notice this also, because you don't have the evidence, so it's opposite. And it's in analysis really, it's repeated. I'm sorry I have to finish quicker, because I have what I will do right now.
There is 2 minutes, Doctor.
Okay. So, the paper, it's with Dr. Tariq, and in the end of the paper, it will be translated to Spanish as he promised me, hopefully. You will find something. There are some exercises. Like, you can do it among each other. Like what? Some one of you, do you remember my first question? What's your opinion of the 4 answers of multiple choice? It's hated in our region. It's one of the wonderful ways of education, of testing. Because they discover that the person can find the mistake faster than finding the right thing. So when I was studying TOEFL before going to Pakistan, I remember, to teaching TOEFL, and I'm sure most of you, because most of the reasons, so you will find that they give you 10 mistakes, 10 sentences. They are wrong, and they ask you why it's wrong. Is it in hearing, or is it in pronunciating itself, or in grammar, right? So when you learn what are the mistakes, you can find mistakes very quickly in the 4th one. And even though, which I'm finishing right now, even though some of them, the 4 answers are right, but one of them is most right, second right, and so which, remember, this will help you how to find scenarios most likely, less likely, or medium likely. So that's why many things, I think, we are handling them, we are using them among us, but we have to make some tricks when we are studying or practicing them. I hope you got my point. Sorry for my pronunciation, it's Egyptian way. So, okay. Thank you so much.